Footage has appeared online, allegedly from a field airfield in the village of Ivnya in the Belgorod region of the Russian Federation, following a Ukrainian strike that took place on March 24. The corresponding video was published on April 2 by the Russian propaganda Telegram channel Spy Dossier. The video shows the aftermath of a strike on a field airfield located in the village of Ivnya, Belgorod Region, approximately 60 kilometers from the border with Ukraine, the commentary to the video says. It is claimed that the strike was carried out using a HIMARS MLRS. As a result of the attack, 4 helicopters of the Russian Aerospace Forces, 2 Ka-52 and 2 Mi-8 received critical damage. On March 24, the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported that SOF fighters, together with the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, missile forces and artillery, destroyed 2 enemy Ka-52 helicopters and 2 Mi-8 in the Belgorod region. All helicopters were destroyed by missile strikes behind enemy lines, where the enemy had created a platform for aircraft to jump off, a camouflaged position for the rapid movement of aircraft or for surprise attacks on the security and defense forces of Ukraine, the Special Operations Forces reported.
Керосин льется, блядь. Ебануться. Ну прямой прилет. В жопу. Угу. Лопасть прошибла. В жопу вошла. Так. Это 54-й.
Russia has warned US against striking Iran's nuclear infrastructure, stating that such attack would have catastrophic consequences. The Russian Foreign Ministry's relevant statement was published by local media on Tuesday. Threats are indeed being heard, ultimatums are also being heard. We consider such methods inappropriate, we condemn them, we consider them a way for the US to impose its own will on the Iranian side, Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov told the Russian journal International Affairs, in an interview, extracts of which were published on Tuesday. There is still time, and the train has not left the station yet. We must intensify efforts to reach a reasonable agreement, Ryabkov said, adding that Moscow was ready to offer its services to Washington, Tehran, and all parties interested in resolving this issue. The ministry's statement comes after US President Donald Trump threatened to bomb Iran and impose secondary tariffs on Tehran if a nuclear deal was not reached with Washington. Trump's warning followed Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian's statement that Tehran would not engage in direct talks with Washington over its nuclear program and was only ready for indirect talks. We responded to the US President's letter via Oman and rejected the option of direct talks, but we are open to indirect negotiations, Pezeshkian said on Sunday while addressing a cabinet meeting. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov also said last month that Russian President Vladimir Putin had agreed to mediate the talks between Washington and Tehran.
The Defense Forces primarily use Soviet Su-27 and MiG-29 aircraft to strike ground targets, while Western Mirage and F-16 fighters are used by Ukrainian defenders for cover. This opinion was expressed on air by veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian War, Reserve Major Alexei Getman on Radio NV. There are air-to-ground anti-radar missiles there. They do not allow Russian aircraft to fly close when our MiG-29s attack. Therefore, do not think that these aircraft are not used. They are used simply as cover aircraft. I think that the same tactics will be introduced in the future. Mirage and F-16 provide cover, attack radars, and are on duty in the air so that Russian aircraft do not fly close. And they will not fly close because Mirage and F-16 are losing in an air battle. Here the tactics are clear, said Getman. He added that Soviet aircraft such as the Su-27 and MiG-29 were adapted to the high-precision missiles of Western partners long before the full-scale Russian invasion. This adaptation took place back when NATO included Eastern European countries. There was the Warsaw Pact, and there were still Soviet aircraft that had to be used somehow so that the country could conduct military operations. Therefore, they were adapted for American and other missiles. This is not something new that was made for us right now. This technological solution was made a long time ago and has been used for a long time, added Getman. Recently, French President Emmanuel Macron hinted that Paris could transfer additional Mirage 2000 fighters to Kiev. He noted that the transfer could come from third countries that use these aircraft. Meanwhile, Forbes journalists note that Ukraine has begun using F-16 fighters for reconnaissance of the self-defense system. Journalists note that such tasks for these fighters are not entirely typical. Ukrainian F-16 fighters not only shoot down Russian drones, jam Russian radars with electronic warfare pods, and drop precision bombs. As Forbes analyst David Axe writes, they also perform tasks that are not entirely typical for them, conducting reconnaissance to accurately detect Russian air defense systems using their self-defense systems. As Axe notes, among the thousands of F-16s around the world, there are only a few that are especially equipped for reconnaissance with under-fuselage cameras or radar installations. At the same time, Ukraine does not have fighters with such technology. Instead, Ukrainian F-16s have the Pylon Integrated Dispensing System and the Pylon Integrated Systems, PIDS and ESIPs. The latter contains passive defenses, including the AN/ALQ-162 jammer to destroy radars on the ground and the AN/AAR-60 missile warning system to launch passive defenses. The warning system is connected to an electronic warfare control system from Danish company Therma, which itself is connected to a display in the pilot's cockpit that shows where enemy radars are in relation to his aircraft. If Ukrainian F-16 pilots are flying electronic reconnaissance missions, they are likely relying heavily on the Therma control system. Axe writes, as the analyst explains, Ukrainian F-16s conduct reconnaissance flights, determine the location of Russian radars based on their emissions, and then land so that intelligence analysts can take fresh data into account when planning strikes. When all of this is added up, we plan flights for further action to defeat the enemy. One of the pilots said,